Welcome to This Explainer. You know that feeling when you're sitting in a class or a training session and you just feel totally captivated, like you're walking out of that room genuinely changed? Well, today, we're going to uncover the invisible architecture behind a truly great lesson. We're breaking down the foundations and frameworks of teaching aptitude. We're going to figure out what it actually takes to go beyond just talking at an audience and instead genuinely guide and evolve a learner's mind.
So I've got a question to kick things off. Is teaching an art or is it a science? I mean, does a teacher's incredible impact come from this place of spontaneous, creative inspiration? Or is it the result of calculated, precise methodology? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this, because the answer honestly defines the whole core of education. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the art and science of teaching, move to the 5 objectives, climb the 3 learning levels, explore traits of effective teaching, and finally unpack the teacher's essential toolkit. Section 1. The art and science. First, we got to define the core essence of what an educator is actually doing when they stand at the front of a room. Teaching isn't just reciting facts from a textbook, right? It's a purposeful, systematic, and interactive process. But the absolute most crucial concept here is transformation. The ultimate goal isn't just an information dump where you memorize data. No way. It's about evolving the learner into a reflective, capable, and responsible individual. It's literally about changing who they are and how they interact with the world. And this brings us right back to our initial question. The truth is, teaching is absolutely both. As an art, teaching provides the spark. It inspires, it motivates, it captures the imagination of the learners. But, inspiration alone isn't really enough to build lasting capability. That's where teaching as a science comes in. The science relies on structured methods, rigorous principles, careful planning, and objective evaluation. Great teaching demands the whole shebang, both the motivational spark of an artist and the systematic, measurable execution of a scientist. Section 2. 5 objectives of teaching. Now, because teaching is a systematic science, every process needs clear, goal-oriented targets. You've got to know what you're aiming for. Our source outlines 5 crucial objectives, and they brilliantly build on one another. It kicks off with simple knowledge acquisition, just getting those foundational facts and concepts down. From there, learners need skill development so they can actually apply those facts to solve problems. Next is value inculcation, which promotes ethics, responsibility, and social awareness. Then we push into critical thinking, challenging learners to really analyze and innovate. And it all culminates in holistic growth. A truly successful teaching process fosters intellectual, emotional, and social development. It builds the whole person. Section 3, the 3 learning levels. So how do we actually get a learner from basic factual knowledge all the way to holistic growth? Well, think of it like a staircase, representing the literal evolution of a learner's mind. We start at step 1, the memory level, which is all about rote learning and simple recall. It's the essential foundation for beginners. Once you've got the basics down, you step up to step 2, the understanding level. Here we move beyond just repeating facts. Learners start to grasp comprehension, meaning, and context. And finally, we reach the peak, step 3, the reflective level. This is the highest stage where learners develop independent thinking, capable of critical analysis, and even creating entirely new knowledge. Think back to your early days in school for a second. Learning the multiplication tables is the perfect example of the memory level. You aren't debating the deep philosophy of math, right? You're just memorizing that 7 times 7 is 49. You absolutely need this fundamental rote learning before you can tackle anything more complex. Now let's step up to the understanding level. Explaining Newton's laws of motion is a great example here. A student at the memory level might just be able to recite, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. But at the understanding level, the learner actually grasps what that means out in the real world. They understand the context beyond the basic formula and can interpret how it applies to, say, a literal rocket launching into space. And finally, the reflective level. This is the ultimate goal of education. Take evaluating social policies, for instance. To do this, you can't just memorize a textbook. You have to synthesize historical knowledge, understand complex societal contexts, and then independently analyze real-world issues to form your own well-reasoned critique. It requires true, independent thinking. Section 4, traits of effective teaching. To make that challenging 3-step climb we just talked about possible, a teacher needs some very specific traits: interactive, systematic, adaptive, goal-oriented, inspirational. Notice how these are active, dynamic terms.
Effective teaching stops the classroom from being this passive, stagnant environment. It requires active participation from both sides. It demands structured planning for sure, but also the flexibility to be adaptive and adjust to what the learners actually need in that moment. It always has to aim at specific outcomes while simultaneously motivating learners to explore way beyond the borders of the lesson.
Section 5. The Teacher's Essential Toolkit.
To make all of this happen and maintain those active traits, a teacher needs the right equipment. First up, a curriculum. Now, this isn't just a list of books to read. It's the essential blueprint for the systematic journey we've been diving into. It's well-defined content that is perfectly aligned with those 5 core objectives we covered a bit ago. Next up are teaching aids. This covers everything from traditional charts and physical models to modern ICT, or information and communication technology resources. These tools are a real game changer. They inject energy into the lesson and visually and interactively enhance the learning experience, making abstract concepts incredibly tangible. But here's the catch. You can have a flawless curriculum and state-of-the-art teaching aids, and all that planning will completely fall flat if you don't have the right learning environment. A teacher has to cultivate a conducive atmosphere with minimal barriers. If students feel unsafe, distracted, or unheard, the transmission of knowledge literally breaks down. The final items in this toolkit aren't even things you can hold in your hands. A teacher needs pedagogical skills, meaning deep competence in teaching methods, communication, and evaluation. And, perhaps most crucially, they carry a profound ethical responsibility. A teacher's toolkit is deeply moral. It requires a genuine, unwavering commitment to fairness, inclusivity, and the overall welfare of the learner. This brings everything we've unpacked today beautifully together. We've got the concept of blending art and science, the objectives that push toward holistic growth, the 3 levels, climbing from memory to reflection, the dynamic characteristics, and the foundational requirements. It's a highly structured, systematic process, but when all these pieces align perfectly, man, something incredible happens. The source material actually distills this entire framework down to one really powerful thought. Teaching is a transformational process that begins with memory, matures through understanding, and culminates in reflection. Just take a second to think about the profound nature of that journey, taking a mind from simply memorizing basic facts to evolving into a truly independent thinker. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself, who was the teacher that sparked your transformation? Who was the one that expertly blended the art of inspiration with the science of instruction to help you climb from simple memory all the way to independent reflection? It's a powerful thing to recognize the invisible architecture they used to shape the person you are today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.